जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जन जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीर बनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा। जय राधा काला चंजी राधा काला चंजी राधे। जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद। प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद। Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for coming to the morning class. Oh. Now you're making me nervous. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Let's start with the verses. So Monday is the day when we get to choose the verse. Last time we talked about the first verse we typically recite, which is Narayan Namaskrityam. Today, I thought, for my own purification, let me prepare for Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu, so that I can do a little bit advancement in your association. So let's start with our traditional prayer here, these verses. Narayan Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiryeta Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we are taking verse number 1.2.18 from Srimad Bhagavatam. 1.2.18. Yes. So I'll now read this verse as part of now discussing. So, Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Nashta, destroyed. Prayeshu, almost to nil. Abhadreshu, all that is inauspicious. Nityam, regularly. Bhagavata, Srimad Bhagavatam, or the pure devotee. Sevaya, by serving. Bhagavati, unto the personality of Godhead. Uttama, transcendental. Shloke, prayers. Bhakti, loving service. Bhavati, comes into being. Naishtiki, irrevocable. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with the transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A little bit longer purport. I'll read it. Here is the remedy for eliminating all inauspicious things within the heart which are considered to be the obstacle in the path of self-realization. The remedy is the association of Bhagavatas. There are two types of Bhagavatas, namely the book Bhagavata and the devotee Bhagavata. Both Bhagavatas are competent remedies, and both of them or either of them can be good enough to eliminate the obstacles. A devotee Bhagavata is as good as the book Bhagavata because the devotee Bhagavata leads his life in terms of the book Bhagavata, and the book Bhagavata is full of information about the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees who are also Bhagavatas. Bhagavata book and person are identical. The devotee Bhagavata is direct representative of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. So by pleasing the devotee Bhagavata, one can receive the benefit of the book Bhagavata. Human reason fails to understand how by serving the devotee Bhagavata or the book Bhagavata, one gets gradual promotion on the path of devotion. But actually these are the facts explained by Srila Narada Deva, who happened to be the maidservant's son in his previous life. The maidservant was engaged in the menial service of the sages, and thus he also came into contact with them. And simply by associating with them and accepting the remnants of foodstuff left by the sages, the son of the maidservants got the chance to become the great devotee and personality Srila Narada Deva. These are the miraculous effects of the association of Bhagavatas. And to understand these effects practically, it should be noted that by such sincere association of Bhagavatas, one is sure to receive transcendental knowledge very easily, with the result that he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. The more progress is made in devotional service under the guidance of the Bhagavatas, the more one becomes fixed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The message of the book Bhagavata, therefore, has to be received from the devotee Bhagavata, and the combination of these two Bhagavatas will help the neophyte devotee to make progress on and on. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Pancha Talpakaru Vishkrapa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you very much. All of you are my senior Vaishnavas and Bhagavatas. So I don't know what to say, but I will share what I'm supposed to learn a little bit here. Last time, when I had an opportunity to discuss here, we talked about the previous verse, which is Narayan Namaskrityam. And one of the messages that I took it from there was how to understand what is gratitude and how to really implement gratitude in our life to make progress. And when I was reading this verse last night, when I learned that it is my turn to speak, I said, okay, I don't know what to speak, but one of the things that I always hanker on is association. And when I was reading this verse, and I was hearing Srila Prabhupada's lecture from 1971, he was emphasizing on association. And actually, that is one of the first principles we typically understand that without association, actually we cannot make progress in Krishna consciousness. And here Srila Prabhupada is describing that we must associate with the Bhagavatas. And he says the devotee Bhagavata is the direct representation of Bhagavan. Actually, in his lecture, he says that we cannot really please Bhagavan. And we must really associate with the Bhagavatas and Srimad Bhagavatam to really get into the lineage so that we can really serve the parampara and hence we can please Krishna. And that is why we also say Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavinda. There are several points I noted from his discussion in this specific lecture, and other ones also. And he makes an amazing analogy, which is so beautiful, that we are called marginal potency of the Lord. And why are we called marginal potency? He makes one point, that just looking at the example of sun, if sun moves marginally from its position, the whole existence will be gone. It will be full of ice and everybody will be dead. And so sun does not move, stays there, never moves from that position, and it always stays in that position. Whereas the Jiva Tattva, which is a marginal potency of the Lord, keeps moving from spiritual association to the material association all the time. And because of that shift keep happening all the time, we really don't make progress. And then he says that once we make association with material energy, it's extremely hard, even if we are devotees, extremely hard to get back on track. And that was such an interesting point. And then reflecting back to his life, that how much compassion he had. We heard even the last night Srimad Bhagavatam class on Sunday evening, that how Srila Prabhupada, who came with out of compassion at the age of 70 and traveled 2 months, had heart attacks, etc. Why would one do that? And why would one create this infrastructure of ISKCON movement, which has such an amazing and easy access to association, which I can tell, coming from my corporate background, that we at our firms spend many millions of dollars researching how do we grow companies better. And they all come to the conclusion that they have to create mentor and a mentee program, which are very, very powerful, so that on a material platform we can grow. And here Srila Prabhupada and Srimad Bhagavatam is already telling this thousands of years back, that association is such an important tool that without that it is impossible actually to grow. And so when I was reflecting this association part, I realized that how difficult it is when we are living in the material world and we are competing. We are actually forced to compete to grow on a material platform. And in that process, we get so attached to our material goals. And then slowly when we come to devotional service also, we cannot really leave those material goals. And so our process to move towards complete surrender takes very long time. Because as our family, as our culture, as a community, we are not seen as someone who is very successful unless we have really created a material success around us. And hence, we are caught up in this false identity or midlife crisis identity that never allows us to fully surrender to Guru and Gauranga. It is only Prabhupada's mercy that because of this infrastructure that has been created here, both in West and now in India so well, that we have a very, very easy opportunity to associate. Now, association, not only just going to temple, that is one part of it, but association at the level of knowledge, association of senior devotees, association of prasadam, association of service to the Lord. So many associations, and the Gurukul that we have in Dallas here, that association really help us to make progress, as Srila Prabhupada described in the purport of this verse. And how does association impact? Actually, this school is a wonderful example. Several of us, especially people with the cultural and background of India, when they come to the Western world, first thing they look for is, where do I send my children or child to school? And for that, first thing they do is look for the best zip codes available where there is a highest ratings of the schools. And the reason we do that is because we want to make sure our children get the association that allows them to grow on whatever platform. Primarily it is material platform. So point I'm trying to make is that we know the value of association even on material platform. And it is non-different on the spiritual platform also. Today, when I'm, especially when I work with students and kids at different places, especially in Bhakti Vrakshas outside of temple community, we can see that they're extremely influenced with what is happening in the world. Not only they, even the parents. Many parents actually inquire when we talk about Bhakti Vraksha that, hey, can we drop our kids to Bhakti Vraksha? And I asked them, why you want to drop your kids to Bhakti Vraksha? And their first response is that, oh, so we want them to give culture. I said, what about you? We have to do a lot of important work to finish. We will come back in 1.5 hours and pick up the kids. And actually we used to allow that, at least in Flower Mound, and then we realized that one is kids are very small and it can become a problem if something goes wrong with the kids. And second thing is that it is absolutely they're not going to make progress, because when they go home, they don't see that parents are following the same principle what they want the children to follow. And so later I took the guidance from Nityananda Prabhu, Rashraj Prabhu, and many other senior devotees that how do we handle the situation? We want them to come. And then we had to make a rule that no, parents have to be there. At least one parent has to be there. Because there are, of course, liability issues and different issues. So that made a significant difference actually, which I have seen over the period of time. So these children, when they go to school, they associate with other children, other families, and whatever is happening in the society in terms of media, in terms of the goals and the path that other children and other families follow. In the community, it is very hard to sometimes even comprehend what is going on outside world, because we are very much protected. And that is really the amazing mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. But outside, it is extremely difficult to make a spiritual progress, even 2 miles outside or 1 mile outside of this community. It's very, very hard. Because what happens when they are going into middle school, high school, and then taking a job, there is a set of goals that are pushed upon them to be successful, which is not only just by the education system, but also by the media, by the corporate culture, by general social culture that is there outside. And in that process, there is so much of stress and anxiety goes on right from beginning that societal thoughts are extremely, extremely prevalent and common in children today, which manifest in terms of drugs, in terms of other things as they grow up, go to middle and high school, and then it continues
as they take jobs. Because what is ingrained in that whole structure of material association is that you will not be successful if you do not do certain things, if you do not go to certain college, if you do not have certain type of job, if you do not have certain type of salary. And parents are already into it, children are going into it, and the working hours are changing from 8 hours to very easily 14 to 16 hours these days. And these especially new children who are doing internships, they are working 14 to 16 hours, including sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. And with that association, they are really, really falling apart. So many of them. Pretty much almost everybody goes through that phase. And then in that process, without knowing, we live the entire life actually in that mode. And think that we are going to be successful one day, we are going to be happy one day. And everybody knows, all of you knows very well. I don't have to tell that again and again, but really nobody is happy there. Absolutely nobody is happy. We pretend to be happy. Those are our lives on social media, not the devotee community especially, but outside. And it is extremely difficult to come out of it. So I'm very grateful how Srila Prabhupada, what a visionary he was. I mean, today's, even if I combine all the corporate wealth, which is in I don't know how many trillions and trillions of dollars, the wisdom that Srila Prabhupada has and the vision that he had, it cannot be matched. Cannot be matched. And how much simplification he has brought to the step that anybody can take this process and actually be very successful. And in that process, first thing what I appreciate is that, simple thing that he keep emphasizing in every talk, that we have these problems, that old age, birth, disease and death. And understand this. And we as a devotee may think that, yeah, we know that we hear it, but I'm telling you, you go to 1 mile out of this place, it is not understood. Absolutely not understood. And the entire culture is actually based upon that, how I'm going to defeat these things on a material platform. And hence I will be very happy. And that is what is ingrained in society, that except me, everybody will go through it, but I will not go through it, which is an old age question that happened in Mahabharata time when Yudhishthira was asked this question, what is the most amazing thing? And he said, everybody thinks that. What did he say? He said that everybody thinks that everybody else will die except me. And that is so ingrained in society that I will be the one who will enjoy everything and everybody will not live here forever. So I was thinking that, some of us go to Bhakti Vriksha, some of us go to these programs, some of us work outside in the jobs. How do we really deal with this? And I can tell you one thing that, I used to think when I was living in a Flower Mound community outside, about 50 minutes away from here, I would get association for about 2 hours on Fridays in Bhakti Vriksha, and probably 2-3 hours when I would come on Sunday to temple. That was my overall association. Rest of it, I was on my own, or maybe hearing little lecture here and there. But rest of it was spent in the community there. And it is extremely hard, extremely hard. I'll give you some examples which I observed, that as there's a phase in life when children are going into middle school and high school these days, what happens that parents are looking for this class, that class, and running around to make sure our children get very good association and they are successful on a material platform. But they do not want to take spiritual association. And when some of the parents who tried to bring their children in that community to Bhakti Vraksha, where we had special children program for Srimad Bhagavatam classes also. Their grandparents from their hometown called and scolded their parents that, are you mad? Is this the age? They really need to do something. They can do this when they retire. And you should not be spending time. And the parents are telling me this, that it's a very difficult situation. They are demotivating us to go to these classes. They want us to do other things. So it is extremely difficult. That enemy is sitting within. And this is all because Srila Prabhupada explained in that lecture I was hearing, it is all because our desires are all around sense gratification, that we want to really serve Maya. And actually in that lecture he also says this wonderful thing that Mother Parvati asked Lord Shiva that who is Vishnu? And then he emphasizes on that the Durga Devi, Maya herself, actually still trying to figure it out, who is Vishnu. So if we do not associate with the Bhagavatas, what is our position? And actually, from my personal experience, I can tell that, coming to community and living in the association outside has made a significant difference in my life and my family's life. I was thinking I'm doing pretty good. I was very happy living there and had a very nice house, amazing community. I had a very nice pond in front of my house, and there's nice walkway, literally private. People would come with their dogs, and I'll have nice good mornings in the morning. I'll try to do my japa there. School was beautiful. Everything was so nice. People had nice cars, very spacious homes, nice trees. But nobody had time to talk about spiritual progress. And then I tried to make contact with every neighbor, which is predominantly white community. And what I learned slowly, that everybody in that community in a very miserable situation internally, either because of the relationships, or because of health, or because of their children, or something else is going on. And as I keep trying to understand what else is happening, I also reached out to the community which is more culture oriented, knitted together, which is, for example, if I take an example of Indian community, there's a Telugu community, there is a Maharashtrian community, there's this community, that community. I had friends there, so I got a little bit more insight into that. And what I learned was amazing, that all these amazing parents want to do everything for their children. So they want to have best house, best this, best that, best school. And as soon as the children are gone to the college, they have no clue what to do in life. And so the next thing what is happening is they're living in these beautiful 3,000 square feet homes with very beautiful houses, cars and community. Now they want to move to 5,000 square feet house. There are two people, kids are gone. And this is not one or two. This is the trend. And so what is happening, because I live in that, I'm associating with that. I'm talking about the theme of association here that is described in this verse. Now, I am so feeling that I am left out because I do not have 5,000 square feet house. And so I have several friends and family that their children, they've gone to these amazing colleges, in the middle of the college, after year 1 or year 2, they are going through a series of issues, including depression, anxieties, and suicidal thoughts, literally, that I know firsthand. And parents are busy in building these 5,000 square feet house and buying these, changing cars every few years. There is nothing wrong in doing that, to my understanding, as long as we understand what is the hetu, purpose of that. But because we are just living life without a hetu, without understanding the objective of the human body, why we have this body, we keep living with no purpose. And we die like that. And that is exactly what is happening in the whole world. Even within my family back in India, who is a very pious family, more than half of my family, and we have, temple in our village, and we have farming, we have cows, everything is perfect. But the hetu is missing. It is just there, and hence I live. It's good that my family is living that. But whenever I talk about chanting, whenever I talk about something around this, they don't like it. They love me very much. But first of all, I'm very young in my family. I still have family members who are in 70s, 80s, 90s, getting close to 100. And nobody likes to hear, to tell them what to do. And this is exactly what I see in America also. So if I go and discuss with these wonderful families who are very close friend of mine, that please come, let us discuss, what direction life is going. What is the impact of association? They say, yes, we want to do it, but nobody has time. And time is running out. We all know that. And we will be gone very soon. I think, so my understanding was that the concept of understanding that death and old age is coming is not understood at all, which is such simple fact of life. And one of the things that is contributing is moving away from the Vedic system of living, which is really living together. And when we live together, we see our parents are getting old. We see the suffering every day. And I don't know, some of you may have seen back in India, the Vedic system is that when someone leaves the body, you actually do a procession openly, and you walk and you say, one of the common saying is Ram Naam Satya Hai. If you have heard that, the name of the Ram is the only truth. And what that does is that brings the feeling of vairagya to the community at large. When they see a body is going and they come out and they pay obeisances to the body, that system is completely broken, even in India now. Here, anyway, nobody sees a dead body actually, because everything is all concealed, and old age homes are there where, we don't even see the old age, we don't see the suffering. We go and meet our grandparents once in a week or once in a month, and maybe, if we are very nice and kind, make some pancakes and serve. But that is nice, but that is not good enough. Not living in the Vedic system actually breaks the chain of understanding what is happening in the life and how life goes on. And then second thing is, that is why this whole association is so important, that, so grateful to Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara, that this whole ISKCON movement created this opportunity in any part of the world which is unimaginable, from a perspective that how do you really motivate people to do it by themselves? And even if this principle is taken even on the material platform by companies, they will be so successful. But how do you bring that energy, that thinking, that change of consciousness, that what is important in life? And so now the association has become so easy and accessible that we take it for granted many times. Oh, okay, I live in the community, I have so many devotees, now I can do whatever I want to do because I'm here, I'm saved. I'm part of it, so like I don't come to Bhagavatam class every day, which is what this verse is saying. So I request your blessings and prayers for us that I'm able to attend Bhagavatam class more sincerely. In fact, I was struggling today. I did not realize that I have to give class, and I had this meeting, and I said, oh my God, how do I change things? I set up that meeting, and there are 50 people. Said, what do I do? So 12 o'clock at night, I'm sending text to Nandabraj Prabhu that, Prabhuji, can I change it to next Monday? I said, he's not going to respond midnight. So 1 o'clock, I changed my meeting. I said, I have to do this. So I changed my meetings. I told them, I have something urgent to take care. I have my service, and I hope they will see and hopefully appreciate that. So that's the learning I took it from here. Association is such an important thing. It can make and break our material and spiritual life completely. Association also means that eventually there is no differentiation. We cannot, at least my understanding is that we cannot differentiate that this is my material life and this is my spiritual life. There is only one life, which is either we choose to be spiritual or we choose to be material. Either we choose to be, demonic or godly. And we have to move away from gray area. Otherwise, we are not going to make progress. So that was my learning. And I would love to receive your comments, corrections here. All of you are really Bhagavatas, so thank you for allowing me to serve all of you a little bit. But I really want to hear from all of you, if you can contribute to that. Thank you very much.
First of all, I want to thank you, Prema Gora. It's Prem Goranga.
Prem
right?
Chandra Das.
Prem Chandra.
Yes, thank
Prem
you.
Chandra. I always think of Gora Chandra. Prem Gora Chandra. Prem Chandra Prabhu, thank you. Because I could see when you came in that you were a little rushed. I could see it. And we were just looking around, where's our speaker? And we knew we had a speaker, but we just didn't know where they were. And then all of a sudden, poof, you appeared, and we're very grateful. Yes, Nasta Preshu Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tumal Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. It's practically destroyed. It's the anxiety and the illusion and the maya and the attachments, material attachment, almost destroyed at the root. What is that almost? And the almost is our own endeavor. It's not just the mercy falling on top of us like Tamal Krishnam Goswami Maharaj just gave a lecture. I listened yesterday, and he said, what do you think this is about? You think Krishna Prema is just going to drop on your head?
Yeah.
He said, you have to attend the morning program. And if you can't attend the morning program, you do it at home. And I know you're always listening on Bhagavatam class. I always know because of your comments and your questions and whatever. You keep privy to the class. If you don't listen in the morning, you listen later.
Yeah.
But you know your sadhana and you do it. So that's your preaching, is by example, Prem Chandra. You're doing that by example. So that's my comment. If you want to elaborate or correct me,
No,
please do.
I can't correct you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you very
not
much.
bad, flying by the seat of your pants into the temple room. Gee, give a Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother Kunti. Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. And you've been so humble, you've been living by these principles you've been hearing. You're very eager to hear always, and I always, as Mataji pointed out, I see you how wonderfully, nicely you've been taking care of your mother. So you've been setting a good example for all of us to follow. As Mother Kunti brought this point up, I was thinking exactly about the same word, almost. And a thought came to my mind was about Srila Narada Muni's previous life story. So he was fortunate to be able to render loving devotional service to the Bhakti Vedantis, the pure devotees, and he had a wonderful association of those great souls. However, later on we see how he had a glimpse of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he wanted to see him again. He wanted to have the audience of the Lord again, and the Lord revealed to him that he won't be able to see him in this lifetime, and he will have to continue practicing. So that's what came to my mind when I was thinking about the word almost. So it was not completely 100% destroyed, but it was almost, all of the anarthas were almost destroyed. That's what I was thinking about.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Sorry. Is that okay? Okay. Do you have a comment? Okay. You said something very interesting. We are so protected here. We don't know what's going on in the outside world or something like that. You said something to that effect. I beg to differ. I happen to know some devotees that are very keen on current events, and they are very integral here in this community. So names withheld, but I just wanted to make that little point.
Thank you, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. I heard just some of it. I hope to go back and listen from the beginning of it. But your class and your life really resonates as someone also working and interacting with so many people outside and seeing how different their goals, ideals, and what they aspire in life are, and how when we interact with them over a period of time, every day, 8 hours a day, it's not easy to stay Krishna conscious, and it's not easy to sincerely dovetail everything we do in Krishna's service. And I really appreciate the point you're making about being present here in Bhagavatam class. Listening is also very potent, but anytime for me personally, what I have seen is that when I am in class, because there's so many distractions, you're completely sitting in class, in person, the impact and the absorption and how deep the message goes is way different than if you're online or just listening as you're doing others. That's good, but there's something so potent and powerful when you just stop everything else, make class the priority, whichever, morning class, evening class, in person. There is tremendous absorption when we make that endeavor. And, you know, Krishna is always pushing us, and Mahadevi is also, so sometimes we have a rhythm and then something happens and we have to adjust. But then again, I'm hoping again and praying again that I can come back, the Bhagavatam class and just absorb. There's nothing compares to being able to absorb Bhagavatam this way. So thank you for bringing those points out, and thank you for your association. Thank you for moving from that high-end community and
to very high-end community now.
to the highest end.
Highest. It can't get better than this. Yes, thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Mataji.
Thank you for your wonderful classes, Prabhuji. You have given, this is your third class, but you always hit it on the nail. All the time you choose gratitude, association. I think more than a comment, I think I also have so many unanswered questions. One thing I really appreciate that they say devotee is very compassionate. I see that you have an ocean of compassion, because every time you come to the class, you express, you express that how people outside, they're leading a life which it's taking them down, and they're not miserable, they are not happy. how to help them. I see that you resonate, you always express this in every class. I can hear that in every class. And like I mentioned, rather than a comment, I also have so many questions. Like recently when Maharaj, I cannot remember names, I think Jai Gaurang Prabhu was taking care of him. He came from Odisha, right? He was also telling that when he was a child, every night they used to hear Bhagavad Katha. That's how they used to go to sleep. And I was fortunate enough, like at least first 5 years, I grew up in a village where people used to like, it was like people who used to go village to village, do dramas on Ramayana, Mahabharata. So I had the fortune to see that. But we don't see that in India. Like you mentioned, like if we go 2 miles away, life is very different. Because here, whenever I'm in US, I'm just among devotees who are very sincere. The reality doesn't strike me, especially when I go to India, when I see my own family, when I see my Prabhuji's family, how they're raising their kids, and I see around people, they just get up and they're rushing to work. Then my kids were surprised, Amma, why everybody is getting up and going somewhere else? I don't see anybody going to temple. And in our hometown, there is a speaker where they put in a Muslim mosque. So they have consistent prayers every time. So they are wondering why only Muslims are praying. I don't hear anything else. So they saw a dramatic difference. And for me also, reality strikes when I go home. I feel very sad. I don't know whom should we blame. Should we blame the Muslim emperors who destroyed all our literature? Should we blame the British emperors who imposed their culture on us? Or should we blame the Kali Yuga, which is progressing so fast? And I feel like those children and those parents are not to blame. Because when I grew up, I had my grandmother, elders who used to tell me stories. We used to talk about it. But now nobody sits with that child to tell about Ramayana or Mahabharata. All they are told is, get up in the morning, go to school, get good grades. You're successful only if you get good grades. You're successful only if you get a good job. You get married and there's a pressure to have kids. And I know a lot of youth now are struggling, especially with kids, because their focus has been made, especially women also. As a woman, I resonate with them. They're put into so much stress to study, to get a career, and they're already more than 30, and they're already beyond the age to have kids, and then they have problems with having. There's so much stress put because the focus of success in life is redefined in a very too materialistic way. And I see my own brother's daughter who's just there, she's rushed. And she's rushed to school. She need to eat breakfast so quickly. She's too rushed to school. She comes back from school, and then the only focus is education. Then again, they have loads of homework to do, and then you rush, eat your dinner, sleep, get up, and the same routine. So there's no focus other than education and other than getting successful materially. If you don't have a big house, and if you don't get married, if you don't, so this is like, one after other, there's so much pressure, and there's nothing else. So I don't know whom to blame. Is it to blame parents, like I told you? Because I feel like even the media is very powerful in India, and of course these days it's slightly better. Like my mom says, at least there is some devotional things which is shown on TV, and she was telling until Ram Mandir came, kids did not even know who was Lord Ram. So that was the status. So I feel like Maya, Krishna says Maya is also very powerful. And I see that when I go to India, because here I'm mostly with devotees, that reality doesn't strike so much. But I see that when I go to India, when I live with my family, with my Prabhuji's family, how powerful Maya is, how powerful media is, televisions, mobile phones, because they are all propagating materialistic way of life. And as you say, association is very powerful. Things, very subtle association. Constantly the mind is bombarded with those things, and it's very natural that the mind goes that way. And like you mentioned, you try to preach to your family, they don't want to take up. I don't know if they are to blame because they don't have the association. Even Krishna consciousness, like we say, right? Somebody comes to temple, they eat prasad, then slowly their Krishna consciousness sprouts. So association is very subtle, whether it's material or spiritual. So they are so much bombarded with this subtle material association, and they don't have spiritual association. So like I told you, I have more questions and more confusions than any answer. So this is like very difficult problem to solve. So how do we infiltrate that subtle positive spiritual association? I felt like there was a trash truck which used to come every morning when I was in my mom's home and used to play some songs. I was wondering how about, I know it's a trash truck, it may not be appropriate, but I was thinking how about just play Hare Krishna on that. Every morning somebody hears Hare Krishna. Somehow in a subtle way it infiltrates. I mean, I'm not empowered to bring any change. I myself am looking for association to empower me, to pull me up of all the Maya and, empower me to progress in bhakti. But like I told, I have more confusions and more questions.
So in my humble opinion...
Thank you, Lalita Sindri.
You mentioned one thing, that whom should we blame? I think rather than blaming, but remember this is Kali Yuga, of course, we can blame so many things. We can blame our parents, society, Kali Yuga, time, whatever. But rather than that, I would say that let us focus on what we have received from Srila Prabhupada and give it to others. Because that is the only way things are going to change. That's the only way. Actually, I meet with some very, very learned people also once in a while, and I hear them. They have absolutely no clue, even after doing so much of research. And when Prabhupada makes this statement of United Nations, it may seem simple statement, but if you really analyze it, there is no way United Nations can change the world. Because you're dealing with the material energies and the mode of ignorance and passion is so much that even the United Nations, poor people working so hard, they cannot deal with, they have no idea what are they dealing with. The desires are amazing for the war, for land, for anything. So the only way, in my understanding, is what Srila Prabhupada has given and sharing with others. So I think one way we can make it really black and white and very simple, that there is no confusion. I have to accept that 100% somehow with association, and I should be able to give it to others. They take it, not take it, their wish, but I want to try because that pleases Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. And there is nothing else. Literally, there is absolutely no other way. So, even if family members don't take it, what can you do? We have devotees and non-devotees in the family from eternity. Vibhishan, Ravan, Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu, so many examples. Yes, Mataji.
Reading Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita. So Srila Prabhupada actually gave the formula. And have you read Lilamrita, Mataji? Okay, what you might want to do is go back to planting the seed. Go back to his New York days. And you will see. You want to talk about degraded? Oh, Mataji. This is like beyond degraded. And Srila Prabhupada, what did he do? He sat under a tree in Tompkins Square Park. He chanted Hare Krishna. Then he brought everyone back and cooked prasadam. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Over again. And finally, these blossoming devotees began to bloom like lotus flowers out of the mud of Kali Yuga. Srila Prabhupada, would you like us to help you? Satsvarup Maharaj, she was the first person who offered to clean. No one would clean. Srila Prabhupada cleaned top to bottom, everything, scrubbed every pot. Srila Prabhupada, may I help you? The smile on his face was huge. It was oceanic. So he gave us the formula.
Yeah.
Mataji, there is no confusion. You're a scientist. You have the formula. It's been proven. And this is the laboratory. And the lab is here. It starts with us. Like Mataji said, come to the program. Come to the Bhagavatam class. It's better. If you can do it, come.
Yes.
If you can't come on the weekend.
Well, your children are amazing. You are example of actually how to raise children. So we are very inspired from you. I am very inspired from your whole family. Don't run away from here. Keep coming. Anything else? Thank you very much. Thank you for your association. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Ki jai.